A vaccine, a single injection, a hope that could redeem over 20 years of collapsed civilization, billions of deaths, countless losses. When Ellie's immunity was discovered in the Last of Us universe, it wasn't just a scientific breakthrough for the Fireflies, it was humanity's last chance. But we need to ask the question, was it really? If a vaccine had been developed, would the world actually have been saved? To answer this question, we first need to understand what the Cordyceps infection is. Cordyceps is a fungus that exists in the real world. It's a parasitic organism that takes over insect brains, controls them, and eventually kills them. In the Last of Us universe, this fungus mutated and jumped to humans. Those infected lose control, become aggressive, and eventually become part of the fungus itself. Spores spread through the air, and bites guarantee infection. Within 20 years, the world became unrecognizable. Now let's get to the vaccine issue. The Fireflies' plan was to study the mutated Cordyceps in Ellie's brain and produce a vaccine. But there's a critical detail here. A vaccine doesn't cure infection, it only protects those who haven't been infected yet. So the millions of infected already existing in the world, the clickers, the bloaters, they weren't going to disappear. The spores that invaded cities weren't going to be cleaned up. A vaccine would provide protection for the future, but it couldn't heal the wounds of the past. What about the societal dimension? In the Last of Us universe, humanity's real enemy isn't just the infected. Fedra's oppressive quarantine zones, violence between survivor groups, resource wars, cannibalism, slavery. In 20 years, humans did so much to each other that there was no civilization left to protect. Even if a vaccine were distributed, who would produce it? Who would distribute it? The Fireflies, as far as the game shows, were an idealistic but organizationally scattered group. They were at war with Fedra. There was no infrastructure, logistics, or chain of trust to produce and distribute a vaccine on a global scale. And perhaps the most important question, would people even accept the vaccine? In the real world, even under far less chaotic conditions, vaccine hesitancy is a serious problem. Thinking that people who spent 20 years learning to survive, approaching every authority with distrust, would unconditionally trust a vaccine offered by the Fireflies would be naive. Let's also look at Joel's decision. Joel destroyed the hope of a vaccine to save Ellie. This action might seem selfish, but Joel actually saw something. The Fireflies were prepared to kill a child without her consent. Before the vaccine was even produced, this act done in the name of humanity had already abandoned humanity. Does the end justify the means? If we're giving up our humanity to save humanity, what's left to save? There are doubts from a scientific perspective as well. Could a functional vaccine really be produced from a single subject, without a controlled laboratory environment, without adequate equipment and time? The game deliberately leaves these details ambiguous because the issue isn't science, it's faith. The Fireflies wanted to believe the vaccine would work. Joel just wanted Ellie to live. In conclusion, even if a vaccine had been developed, the world most likely wouldn't have been saved. The infected weren't going to disappear. Social structures weren't going to be repaired. People weren't going to relearn how to trust each other. A vaccine could have been a beginning, but only a beginning. And after 20 years of chaos, whether there was a humanity left to make use of that beginning is debatable.